Section 1. Introduction. What is employment, and why does it matter? How has life changed for people with disabilities over the years? How do unconscious biases affect employment opportunities for people with disabilities? Employment means working in the general workforce for a competitive wage. It's more than just a job. It's a way to pursue dreams, build independence, and achieve financial security. Through employment, people gain a sense of purpose, develop skills, form friendships, improve their health and well-being, and experience personal growth. The disability movement, history, and laws. The way people with developmental disabilities are treated and thought about has changed a lot over time. In the past, they were often kept apart from others, sometimes in institutions or isolated from regular communities. Today, there's a stronger focus on including people with disabilities in everyday life, making sure they are part of their neighborhoods and communities. Important laws and programs, like the Ohio Employment First program, have helped create more opportunities and support this shift toward inclusion. How society constructs disability. Disability isn't just about a person's physical or mental condition. It's also shaped by how society views and treats people with disabilities. Some of the main challenges people with developmental disabilities face are hidden biases that lead to unfair treatment. People may have unconscious biases, attitudes they're not fully aware of, that lead to treating people with disabilities unfairly. Stereotypes about different disabilities. There are often false ideas about what people with certain disabilities can or can't do. These stereotypes can prevent others from seeing them accurately. Fears and misunderstandings. Some people feel unsure or uncomfortable around people with disabilities, often because they don't know much about them. This can lead to awkwardness or even exclusion. Low expectations from society. Society often focuses on what people with disabilities can't do instead of what they can do. These low expectations can hold people back and stop them from reaching their potential. How things have improved for people with disabilities over time. From institutionalized to being part of the community. In the past, many people with disabilities were placed in institutions, kept apart from society and their families. Over time, society has shifted toward including people with disabilities in everyday life, supporting them to live in their communities, where they can connect with others and build relationships. From segregated to included. Not so long ago, people with disabilities were often kept separate, whether in special schools, separate workspaces, or designated areas. Today, the focus is on inclusion, making sure that people with disabilities can participate in all aspects of society, whether at school, work, or in social spaces, alongside everyone else. From pity to respected. Society used to see people with disabilities mainly as objects of pity, often focusing on what they couldn't do. Now, there's a shift toward respect, recognizing that people with disabilities have valuable skills, talents, and perspectives. This change allows people with disabilities to be seen as individuals with strengths rather than just their limitations. From facility-based services to community-based services. Services for people with disabilities used to be mostly facility-based, meaning they were provided in facilities or separate locations. Now, there's a stronger emphasis on community-based services, which are designed to support people within their own neighborhoods. This shift helps people with disabilities live more independently and access the support they need right where they live. From treated as one group to valuing unique identities and needs. There was a time when people with developmental disabilities were often lumped together, with little attention to their individual needs, preferences, or goals. Today, there's more focus on person-centered planning, which recognizes that each person has unique wants, needs, and aspirations. This approach allows people with disabilities to set their own goals and receive support that's tailored to them as individuals. Employment First. Employment First is a movement that prioritizes employment as a key goal for people with disabilities, emphasizing that everyone deserves the opportunity to work and contribute to society. Instead of seeing employment as optional or secondary, Employment First aims to make it the primary focus of support services. This approach has opened up new job opportunities for people with disabilities, helping them find meaningful work and become more integrated into the workforce. Important legislation related to employment. Rehabilitation Act of 1973, the first major law that banned discrimination against people with disabilities. This meant that federal programs and employers receiving federal funding couldn't discriminate based on disability, paving the way for greater opportunities in education and employment. Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA, 1975, updated in 1990 and 2004. IDEA focuses on ensuring that students with disabilities have access to a quality education. It emphasizes integration and inclusion, encouraging schools to serve students with disabilities in regular classrooms whenever possible. Over time, IDEA also put more emphasis on helping students transition from school to work, recognizing that education should lead to meaningful employment opportunities. Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, 1990. The ADA prohibits discrimination in many areas of public life, including employment, transportation, and public accommodations. This law helped break down barriers, making workplaces, schools, and other public spaces more accessible and inclusive. Ticket to Work and Work Incentive Improvement Act, 1998. This act aimed to encourage people with disabilities to enter the workforce by making it easier to work without losing crucial benefits like health care. The goal was to provide a ticket for people with disabilities to explore employment opportunities, promoting economic independence. Olmstead Decision, 1999. This Supreme Court ruling reinforced the right of people with disabilities to live in community settings. Employment First, 2000 to the present. The Employment First movement promotes the idea that employment in typical workplaces, alongside people without disabilities, should be the first and preferred option for people with disabilities. Changes in RSA Regulations, 2001. The Rehabilitation Services Administration, or RSA, updated its regulations to clarify that a successful employment outcome must be in an integrated setting. This means that vocational rehabilitation services, which help people with disabilities find jobs, need to focus on placing people in regular work environments, not isolated or segregated settings. Center for Medicaid Services, or CMS, 2011. In 2011, CMS issued new guidelines suggesting that Medicaid waiver services should prioritize community employment. These guidelines encouraged states to support people with disabilities in finding jobs within their communities, helping to shift funding and services toward employment in integrated settings. Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, or WIOA, 2014. WIOA aimed to improve collaboration between workforce development and disability services. It introduced pre-employment transition services, or pre-ETS, to help young people with disabilities prepare for work. These services include job exploration counseling, helping people learn about different career paths and job options, work-based learning experiences, giving people the chance to try out different types of jobs through internships or apprenticeships, counseling on post-secondary education options, providing guidance on education options after high school, workplace readiness training, teaching practical skills for success at work, like time management and teamwork, instruction in self-advocacy, helping people learn to speak up for themselves and their needs. How unconscious biases affect jobs for people with disabilities. The assumptions we hold about people with developmental disabilities, as well as how society sees them, can make it harder for them to find and keep jobs. Even the words we use can create barriers. If we become more aware of these biases, we can help open more job opportunities for people with disabilities. What assumptions are made about people with disabilities? Many people have ideas about what people with disabilities can or can't do, and these assumptions can get in the way. When we assume someone can't work, we might not even give them a chance. But if we start to believe that people with disabilities can work and succeed, it could change how we support them, helping us focus more on their strengths than their challenges. Deficit thinking. Deficit thinking is when people are seen mainly for what they can't do, instead of what they can do. This can be a big barrier to finding a job because it limits how we see their abilities. When we focus only on limitations, we miss out on all the skills and potential someone has to offer. How expectations shape success. When people with disabilities expect to work, and when their families, teachers, and employers believe in their potential, they're more likely to succeed in finding jobs. Research shows that students with developmental disabilities are more likely to get jobs if their parents and teachers believe they will work after school. Positive expectations can lead to more encouragement and support, making employment success more likely. Person first versus identity first language. The way we talk about people with disabilities matters. Person first language, like saying person with a disability, puts the person before the disability. Identity first language, like disabled person, puts the disability first. People have different preferences, but both types of language can shape how we think about disabilities. The important thing is to be respectful and aware of how language affects our assumptions. Labels and terminology. The words we use to talk about disabilities can make a big difference. Labels can reinforce stereotypes, or they can help promote a more accurate and respectful view. Choosing words carefully can help break down stereotypes and show people with disabilities in a positive light. The following questions are for your review. They will not be graded.